This is the GameBloc Cast, Episode 7. I am your host, Richard Sherman, and on the podcast this week, we have Jonathan,
A
Kiral,
hello.
and Kenny.
Hello.
And welcome everyone else to the GameBloc Cast, where this is a podcast about video games and video game news and the occasional thing of a geeky nature. So let's just start our first segment on what we played this week. I haven't really played any new games this week, but something happened to me where I went from 2 hours of Stardew Valley to about 20 hours of Stardew Valley over the course of this week. And this game is really insane. It's just great. Last week I talked about it saying, it's like the best Harvest Moon game on PC because, well, one, there really isn't unless you emulate them. But this game is just so great. One guy made this. Again, that every time this game's talked about, it should be made known that one guy over the course of 4 years made this game.
Oh, wow.
The whole entire thing. And he really cares about it. You can tell because just the art style is so good. The music's amazing, and most of the gameplay mechanics are pretty great. I haven't gotten used to the fishing mechanic because it's really weird, but he says he's not changing that because he likes it, so that's whatever. But it's been a crazy week for me, homework wise and everything, so I haven't been trying to play too many intense video games, and Stardew Valley does a really good job of just mellowing me out, just because it's supposed to be a relaxing game, and that's definitely what it is. I went through spring and half of summer, just slowly trying to get my farm on track. But then once I got towards the middle of summer, I was able to build sprinklers, which self-water for you. So you don't actually have to water crops anymore, which is pretty fantastic. But so I was able to, apparently blueberries are the crop to grow in summer.
Blueberries.
So yeah, they're vines. So like they take a long time to grow, but once they grow, they continuously, bear fruit.
Oh, yeah.
So I just had like 5 or 6 rows, really long rows of blueberries, and would be getting insane money. And then I just built it up so fall I could grow cranberries and everything, and would get even more insane money, like 32,000 gold a pull, like each time it harvested, which was every 5 days once they grew. So I was able to really build up my farm after that. And it was amazing, and I've been exploring the mines a lot more. The mines are really cool because there's actually a lot of like diverse enemies. Like in Harvest Moon, I'm pretty sure there weren't any enemies at all. I know there were in Rune Factory.
No combat except in Rune Factory.
Yes. It's weird because I almost feel like the mines are almost like a little like a Link to the Past-esque in feel. I don't know why, but I don't know, maybe it's just the way it's like a 2D, sword swinging area. I don't know. But it's a lot of fun. I'm at like level 90 in the mines. And so there's some weird, crazy enemies. Like there's like floating heads that spit fire at you, and weird guys in masks that shoot magic at you or debuff you and make you weaker or something. And it's just insane. And one of the problems, though, I was having was that after a while, I just felt like there wasn't a lot to do. But then I figured out that the community center has a bunch of different objectives inside of it that make the game really interesting. Like there's different different achievements that do different things for each part of the community center. So like in the boiler room of the community center, it's all mining stuff. So once you collect these certain mining things inside, and donate them to the community center will get like renovated in that area. So I think like the goal is to renovate the community center. And that's like a more story driven part of the game, I guess, other than like getting married and having kids and stuff. So, and for, renovating a room, you get different things. Like renovating the boiler room gets your mine carts in your town work. So it's easy to go from the mine to the blacksmith or to the bus stop. And then there's another one that like renovates the bus so you can actually go to the desert and things like that. So there's actually a lot more to this game than I thought there would be. And for $15, it's amazing. Like I highly recommend it. I'm going to play more of it. I may even start over at some point just so that like I have a better start because I actually know what I'm doing.
And they were going to add multiplayer at some point, right?
Yes, which I didn't know about. And then once they said that, I was like, wow, that's going to be awesome. I don't know entirely how it's going to work, but I really hope it works well because I think playing this game with friends would be just a great way to kind of relax and hang out with them and not have some weird, intense game to play.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's Stardew Valley. That's pretty much all I've really been playing this week. Do you guys have anything to add on that?
No, I don't think
I
so.
still need to play it.
You really should, Jonathan. I think you'd like it. Your previous criticism about it, saying you didn't know what to do, is still very valid. There are a lot of things that I just didn't know what to do. Like having the Stardew wiki page open all the time is a lifesaver. But other than that,
I'll go back to the game with that opened, and I'll
all
try it
right,
again.
great. You really should give it another chance. It's awesome. Kenny, you've been playing Blood and Bacon.
Yeah, speaking of weird and intense multiplayer games, this is one of the dumbest games I've played lately. It's I think it's
And
99.
he's played Ostrich Island.
Yeah, this Ostrich Island was a lot better. You should go buy it.
What
And
what was that the cat one
no,
you were gonna play last?
Oh, you also need to talk about that.
no, I haven't played it yet. I'm actually gonna be playing it once I get home, so I can get my brother and his friends to do a 4-player local match. But next week,
Called?
next week you can hear about my experience with Super Kitty Boing Boing.
Oh,
It's really bouncing cats on a stage.
Mhm.
Like a fixed square on your screen with a bunch of bouncing cats. That's what I saw in the Steam trailer. But anyway, Kenny, Blood and Bacon.
Yeah, Blood and Bacon. Probably not as good as Super Kitty Boing Boing. I have high hopes for that one. But anyway, so this is a first-person shooter. It has online multiplayer it's in beta, but up to 2 players right now at least. And you try to survive waves of zombie pigs attacking a farm. You unlock weapons as
So that's where the bacon comes in.
yeah, that's where the bacon is, and the
Right.
blood too. The pigs are the ones they explode after when you shoot them, right? And so every
Gosh.
wave, there's like well over 50 pigs usually. At least I only got to like wave 20. So after they're all dead, all their body parts are lying around on the ground, and you have to kick them into the meat grinder. And once have you ever kicked soccer balls in Animal Crossing, like for the GameCube?
Yes.
You know,
Oh,
do you
so they're
remember?
kind of
Do you remember the watermelon episode in Gelato Beach in Mario Sunshine?
Yes.
Well, anyway, so you have to kick the meat. You can't pick it up. You have to kick it.
So-
and it's really hard to kick. You kick it and it just goes really far. It's not an easy thing to do. But as you grind the meat, it's all kicked into the meat grinder and it's grinding away. You earn some kind of fuel or something that lets you create ammo refills, grenades, and a couple other things. So after each wave, you need to go dump all the parts of the pigs into the meat grinder so you don't run out of ammunition for the next round.
This game sounds ridiculous.
It's really stupid. The controls are interesting. It's really easy to shoot stuff. There's no recoil on your gun. It doesn't care if you walk. You're fully accurate at all times. I don't think there's bullet drop. It's not very complicated. They have some interesting ways to kill the pigs. If you can get enough of them into the electric fence area, you can zap them and they die. I made it to the first boss, and it was
Ooh, there's the bosses.
there are bosses. It's he was very difficult. He was like a giant demon pig or something. I'm not entirely sure.
Was it as hard as the first boss in Hammerwatch? Because that boss is so hard.
No, I don't think we had really any problems killing him. It was we did have 2 of us, so it went better than I would have in single player. But he wasn't too bad. He was really what was he? He was really annoying though. He had a lot of health. He didn't kill either of us though.
So was he kind of, sorry to interrupt, but was he kind of like a puzzle boss, like in like a Zelda-esque boss, or was he more of a bullet sponge?
Kind of both. I think the only way to do significant damage was like through grenades, but we just ran away from him and shot him with the guns until he died, so it took a while.
All right.
Yeah. Anyway, for $1, it was pretty fun for an hour or 2 as a 2-player multiplayer game. But
For $1, it definitely was a game.
yes, it was. A game I had a lot more fun with lately was A Link Between Worlds.
Oh, that's a great
keep
game.
coming back to it, trying to make it farther, but I always forget what I was trying to do for the story, so I wind up doing like the side quest dungeons instead. I did like 5 of them today, and it's really fun. It's I love the way it looks. The 3D effect works super well in it.
It really does.
Especially on the new 3DS. I don't turn it all the way up, but it makes it a little bit easier to judge distances, and it just looks so good.
Yeah. I just think the way that they approach the dungeons, being able to go to whichever one you wanted to at any time, really, it was awesome.
Yeah, just so long as you can rent the item, there's no reason you can't go there.
Yeah, I think that's a really neat way to approach, the Zelda franchise, just because, the past Zelda games have been very linear.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually gotten a lot of criticism in that, especially in Skyward Sword, because they didn't feel like they could explore a whole lot. And I think this is a great way to, fix that problem. Being able to rent the items and go do the dungeon and, come back, and it's not like the story isn't really impacted by it.
Yeah.
I really like how they, I really like how they did ammo/magic in just a bar that filled itself.
Yeah.
Actually you can't really get screwed over by a boss.
You just have to wait for it to recharge.
Yeah, and then it doesn't look weird when Wicker spit arrows out of them.
Oh yeah, they had to do that.
And you won't run out of light arrows in the last dungeon and lose the race.
Oh yeah.
That's a different story for a different podcast, but anyway, you can keep talking about it.
I really liked the way the item rentals work, because when you die, you have to rent them again. But I'm in a little bit of a weird situation, because I bet my friend Ian that I would be able to beat it without dying once.
Oh, yeah, you telling me about this.
Yeah, and so I haven't died yet, and since I haven't had to re-rent items, I have like 6,000 rupees and no idea what to do with them.
You can buy the items.
I don't think I've unlocked them that yet.
Yeah, but wait, but then there is no point in doing that, because if you don't die, if you're not trying to die, then you don't actually have to buy them, because you'll never lose them.
I have to erase my file if I die.
Ooh.
It's pretty hard.
That's rough.
And then I'm going to do it again in... Is there a hero mode from the beginning?
I don't know if there is in the 3DS ones. The earliest I've seen hero mode is in Skyward Sword.
Oh, okay.
So maybe they do.
I can't
remember.
I can't remember, but one of the other restrictions was I can't have any Maya powers, abilities, and I can't get whatever armor you get.
So you can't get like equipment upgrades and things like that?
Only the required ones for the story.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Interesting. I mean, that game, I never really had... I wouldn't say it's challenging.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really fun. Like, that's how I feel about Twilight Princess.
Mm-hmm.
Especially replaying it again, is that I'm not really finding it to be that difficult, but it's still really awesome, and the game's still amazing.
Yep. And there were a couple things... After playing Triforce Heroes, there were a couple things in A Link Between Worlds that I wish they could add in an update. I wish that you could use the C-stick to look around with your camera.
That would be nice.
Because
a
lot of times I'm walking around, I think, hey, is there some bad guy up there that I need to worry about? And I have to I can't walk around and look around at the same time, because it's both on the same side, analog and D-pad. And the other thing I wish they do is in Phantom Hourglass, you could draw on the map. That was so nice.
That's really cool.
At one point I had a color-coded pin system, because you can drop pins on the map in this one. I had yellow ones was things I needed to do, red ones was chests I couldn't reach or something. And I forgot my color coding system. So now I just know, there's a bunch of stuff here.
There's things going on around this spot.
Yeah, and it's not super helpful. If I could have written, there is a Maya that I can't reach yet because I don't have whatever power bracelet or whatever. That'd be super nice. But no, it's besides Triforce Heroes, it's probably my favorite top-down Zelda game. Actually, it's up there with Triforce Heroes, because I wouldn't want to play Triforce Heroes in single player. I tried that once, and it wasn't very fun.
Yeah, I would say if you want to do a Triforce Heroes single player, just play A Link Between Worlds, and it'll be kind of the same thing.
It's super fun though, and it's a lot higher quality than Blood and Bacon.
News time.
Boo 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 boo.
Every time we do this. So first thing on the news, according to the show notes, is there will be a Batman Telltale game. So yeah, there you go.
Hey,
What do you
wow.
think that's going to be like?
Um,
Do you think it's going to look like Batman Arkham Asylum-esque, or do you think it's going to be like, you know,
It's gonna
what
be like all the other Telltale games where it's like
weird?
stylized,
Like
yeah,
Yeah.
cell
like
Borderlands.
shaded type
cartoony. Yeah.
business.
Yeah, I mean, but like what universe do you think they're gonna take it from? I know Batman, but I'm like, what style of Batman? Like Adam West Batman, which would be by far the
That
best
would be
one.
Oh,
definitely the best
definitely.
one.
Yeah.
Especially with Telltale's stylized like art, cell
Mhm.
shadedness, it would actually like look really cool in my opinion.
Holy cell
Yeah, I
shading
think so too.
Batman.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it'd be cool. Like, what do you think? I mean, it's obviously going to be like a point and click, telltale adventure kind of thing. But do you think they're going to add any new and different gameplay elements for this game? Like, I
Probably
haven't
not.
played a lot of Telltale games, so I don't really know.
They're all pretty similar, just with different ways, which I guess I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but because that's like literally what they're supposed to be. They're supposed to be interactive stories, so point and click would probably work best for an.
Yeah, I mean, it's Batman though. Like, he's a pretty big deal. I mean, he might have something a little different.
I don't know what no, to be
That's
honest.
true. I mean, it's just kind of a neat thing. I mean, that may open the gate for more superhero Telltale games in the future. I don't know what superhero it would work well with because, superhero things thrive off of really big action-packed things and set pieces like that. So I don't know how well it'll fit into the Telltale formula, but we'll see. They usually do a pretty good job.
Yeah, they've not been had a major screw up so far, so
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I've played the first episode of the Walking Dead Telltale game, and it was pretty great. I liked it. I think then again they've made several more games since then, so I don't know. It's just something to keep an eye on.
so
Also,
hey,
what?
look at that. The game's broken when it came out. What a surprise!
That has to do with the Division. The Division servers, on the first night it was out, went down, and and it really like messed up most of Uplay. Like Kirill and I were playing Rainbow Six Siege, and we couldn't even play a game just because we were on Uplay and the Division came out.
Just sad. Ubisoft is a multi-billion-dollar company. Why can't they afford a couple extra servers to just plop on in there?
I'm pretty sure
What?
it wasn't down for too long. Like I think they came back up, but it was still that initial launch that
I mean,
completely overwhelmed the system.
yeah, even then though, it actually overwhelmed other games on their system though. Like, has that happened before? I don't know if it has. Like, unless there was like really weird, like,
Well, obviously they share the same servers, so
I mean, that's true, but I mean, like, if Splatoon's having issues, I've never seen Splatoon having issues while Smash Brothers has issues, and
no,
Smash Brothers having issues at the same time. But I mean, it's really weird because they had a beta with 6 million people or something on it, right?
yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a huge beta.
I feel like that would be enough for them to figure out. Wait a second.
Well, see the Division sold more copies in 24 hours than any other game Ubisoft has ever made.
That's insane.
So
That's crazy.
Wow.
My roommate has got the Division, and like he hasn't stopped playing it, other than trying to go to class and stuff. But like other than that, he's just been playing the Division the whole time. He seems to really like it.
It was a pretty hyped game.
That's true. And but he did have problems connecting. Like we were, I was across the room playing Rainbow Six Siege with Kirill and got kicked from the servers. And then Matt, like my roommate, started talking to me saying, "Hey, are you having problems?" Like, I was like, "Yeah, I just got kicked off of Uplay and everything." And it happened with him too. And he was just trying to play the Division. He got like 1 or 2 levels in, and then he just got kicked out. So hopefully in the future, Ubisoft figures out what's going wrong. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just hope they do a good job.
and don't make people wait in line to do whatever, like actually enter the game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I remember that. I saw a picture about that. That's so weird.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Speaking of like weird Microsoft weirdness, like we talked about last week, Fable Legends was canceled, and Lionhead Studios, the makers of Fable, was also closed this week, which is super strange.
Yeah. Can you tell me what other games they've made?
All Fable games.
The movies.
That's
Have
it.
you ever played the movies?
No.
It was a fun game.
What is the
I-
movies?
You played as a movie studio, pretty much.
Oh, okay.
Exactly what it sounds
Like
like.
it was like that. So you played as a movie studio. Like, was it the same as Game Dev Tycoon, or like just
Yeah.
different parts
You
of
like.
movies?
Well, it was kind of like a mix between like Roller Coaster Tycoon. So you have like your studio lot, and so you build different, like a casting office and an actor's studio and whatnot, and then you can make films and release them.
Oh,
And
right.
like you have
That's
writers
cool.
and a bunch of other stuff. I owned it and I really enjoyed it. I never bought any expansions or anything, but I played quite a few hours on it of it as a young man.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't even know they made that game or that game even existed. But that's cool that you enjoyed it. It's really weird though, because Kenny was talking before the podcast and said that Fable Legends, the game that got canceled, was pretty close to being
It
done.
yeah, as far as I know, I don't know how much story they had done, but the missions that I saw, my friend had the beta. They looked really complete. The graphics were great. They had a lot of characters with voice acting and animation for all of them. There weren't really even very many glitches. It was mostly just like every once in a while the UI would do something unexpected, and then he reported the bug. But it looked really far along. I'm surprised they canceled it after so much work was put into it.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it doesn't seem like it was Lionhead Studios' decision to shut it down. It was probably a Microsoft idea,
Yeah.
Because I don't think, especially if it's that far into development, I don't know if a lot of developers would want to quit the game because it didn't even look like the game was going to be bad.
No, it had neat gameplay. They have one player plays the villain, and then the other players try to make it through a level that he's set up, trying to stop him. And
That's pretty interesting.
it was actually really cool. It was a pretty, as far as I could see, a pretty standard beat 'em up. You just kind of pressed buttons and punched things, and they died. There was a lot more to it than that. There were numbers that I didn't understand, but that's what it looked like, and it looked really fun.
Yeah. Do you think this has something to do with the way Microsoft's been acting recently with, their feelings on the Xbox and, trying to, try and communicate more and with PC gamers and stuff? Like,
I don't know, because if they were trying to do that, they already had a PC version and the Xbox version, and I know the save data was working between them because my friend moved down from his computer downstairs to his Xbox One just fine, and I believe he had the same characters.
interesting.
So it looks like even if the game were finished, that's totally in line with what they've been going for.
Wow. Phil Spencer, a higher up CEO of, the Xbox thing, he said that he's not trying, like, if you have a high-end PC, you shouldn't, like, you don't have to buy an Xbox One. I think that's something along the lines of what he said, and that's really weird.
Yeah, that's
Like, why would you not want someone to buy your console? Because, they've been pushing that thing a lot, and it's not really going as well as they'd hoped, in comparison to the PS4. And it just sounds like they're giving up on the Xbox.
I think they want everyone to buy a Surface, a phone, and a Lumia, and an Xbox. But if you do go for the PC, you don't need a Surface.
Yeah, that's true. Or an Xbox.
Yeah, or an Xbox. It's kind of like both, except you can't carry it.
Yeah.
Well, you could carry
Oh, okay.
It's true. Yeah. I mean, it's just really weird. It's going to be interesting to see how Microsoft changes. Because it just seems like they're in a really weird spot and they're like making themselves into this weird spot. Like they never, like all of a sudden they just start saying these things like, the Xbox One's not doing that great. Maybe we should just make everything for PC now and then make Xbox basically a PC. It's just really strange.
Yeah, it's definitely a different approach to what anyone else is doing.
Yeah, that's for sure. So moving on, Miitomo is out in Japan on March 17th. Which is an interesting thing, but I really brought it up just because I was curious on how you guys felt about Miitomo, and because it's supposed to come out this month in March, in the US. So, what are your guys' opinions about it?
I don't know what it is, to be honest.
I am pretty excited. It's kind of like it's a Nintendo social network kind of thing. where you set up a Mii and you communicate with people somehow. I'm a little fuzzy on the details. Can you talk about it a little more, Richie?
Well, I mean, okay, so it's really weird. It's Nintendo's first like mobile console. No, mobile application. And Kenny's correct. You do build a Mii and then like your Mii makes friends. It's kind of like Tomodachi Life for your phone, except a little less really obscure, I guess.
But aren't there real people? Aren't you interacting with your friends and stuff? There aren't
yeah, you're interacting with your
virtual
friends.
people.
Yeah. Well, you're interacting with your friends and then you talk to your friends and your Mii will say things like, "Do you like basketball?" And like it's just it's like a social networking app, which is really weird.
But they really are emphasizing the trying to make you be social. It says I'm looking at their website.
It's
your Mii
it's
characters.
The app for introverts.
Yeah, your Mii characters act as social go-betweens. Your Mii will ask you questions you'd never think. Your Mii will ask you questions you'd never think to ask yourself to learn fun little things that make you you. Your friends' Mii characters will do the same thing, and then your Miis will tell each other about these details. So you're going to learn stuff you didn't want to know about your friends.
I don't know if I like this app.
I'm really excited for it.
I think it's definitely going to be an interesting thing to look at.
They say...
I don't know how I feel about it, honestly. It's exciting because it's Nintendo's first, step into the mobile market.
Their
but
first
at the same time,
mobile app.
Yes. But for the first, but this being the first app, it seems kind of weird. And I mean, it's just an interesting way to do it. It's just an interesting way to enter it. I mean, I was totally thinking the first app would be like Mario Endless Runner.
Oh, yeah.
But it's not. So I think it's pretty bold of them to do something like this where it's a very different thing.
Yeah.
But it's going to be interesting to see.
I don't know if I'm one to talk about it because I'm really not a social media type person at all. I like to give out zero personal information if I can on the internet. But I think it's an interesting way to get people to talk to each other.
Now, I'm sold on the idea just because you can dress your Mii up. You're no longer stuck wearing either a shirt or a dress or whatever the game requires. It's got all kinds of accessories. Outfit. So many accessories.
Yeah, that's cool. I think if they implement that into their normal Mii creator, that'll be pretty cool. And more facial options.
Now, isn't Miitomo coming along with their new Nintendo ID system? So maybe these Miis that you accessorize and improve in Miitomo are going to be available for your Wii U and 3DS user accounts.
That'll be interesting to see. And My Nintendo is already out in Japan, but hopefully, it's supposed to come out this month, and it's almost the middle of the month, so we should be seeing something about it by now. You could pre-register.
Yeah, I pre-registered.
And everything. I did too. So, I mean, maybe they'll do some mini 10-minute direct or video or something explaining My Nintendo and Miitomo. Last thing on
if you
gaming,
just one more thing. If you pre-register for the My Nintendo thing now, you get free My Nintendo Platinum points.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's there's a bonus. I just saw that.
Yeah, the Platinum points let you redeem things that we haven't actually seen yet, but it should be pretty cool.
You should pre-register.
Yes. Last thing about video games, Nintendo Select games are now available on the eShop.
It looked like some of them. There were a few 3DS games that didn't have the go buy them online icon, so it looks like most of the Wii U games were, though.
This Nintendo Select lineup is pretty great. You can get the Ocarina of Time 3D for $20. So that's pretty awesome.
And Pikmin 3.
And
Pikmin 3 is a really recent game.
Yeah.
And it's $20.
Is it $20 or $30 for Wii U
It's
games?
$20.
It's a Nintendo Select, so it's $20.
That's insane. Pikmin 3 is a fantastic game.
One of the
Pikmin
best
3
games.
and Super Mario 3D World.
3D World's great. Tropical Freeze is one of the best platformers I've ever played. So you should check that out too. It's also a Nintendo Select. So yeah, there you go. Nintendo Selects.
There's a bunch of them. Go.
Yeah, they're all pretty dang great. In non-gaming news, but interesting news nonetheless, Apple is having their event.
Woo! Yeah!
I don't think anyone
care.
cares because most of us are not Apple. Well, except for Ken.
I mean, I think it'll be interesting because they have to do something about Samsung at this point. I mean, Samsung's always been outpacing them sales-wise. So I mean, I think it's
Well, just
mostly
Android in
because,
general is
well,
just
definitely Android, but
more
I think
easily adopted.
yeah, but I think it's Samsung that's Samsung by themselves is. I'm pretty sure Samsung sells the most Android phones, don't
Yeah,
they?
they're definitely at the forefront of Android.
Yeah, and I just think it's because Apple's phone selection isn't amazing, like when it comes to diversity. Um, but I mean, that may not necessarily be a bad thing, but it's an event this month that's supposed to announce new things. Like, there's been rumors that it's going to be like a smaller, like 4-inch touchscreen
Yes,
phone.
that's what I'm the most excited about. If they go back to the iPhone 5 form factor, I'm actually going to upgrade. I really like iOS because it works well with my MacBook, and so I'm really only in the market for an iPhone. But if they go back to the small form factor, I'm actually going to upgrade. I don't like how big phones are nowadays. They're not fun to hold. Since I don't do anything like professional, I don't write my school papers on them. I don't need all that screen real estate. I'm just doing phone stuff. I want it small.
That's
It's
true.
thinner, lighter, and smaller's what I'm looking for.
On
I
the
would,
other hand,
yeah, I mean,
I love my giant ass Note 4, and
Giant
Richie
phones are
also
so
has
good.
it.
I love my Note 4. It's my favorite
It's
phone I've ever had.
The
pretty
LG
much.
LG G4 is also quite a large phone, coming in
Yes.
about 5.5 inches.
And
Now there is an extreme point like where it can get too big, but I think right around this size is perfect.
yeah, I think 5.7 inches, I think that's the Note 4's screen size, is the best. I had a Nokia Lumia 1520 for a while that was 6 inches, and while I really liked the phone, it just seemed a little bit too big. It took up most of my pocket, and
That
I wanted to get a wallet case for it, but the wallet case looks like a woman's wallet.
Ah,
Like that's what it made it look like to me, and I didn't really like that. But the Note 4's wallet cases are just small enough to look like a phone and a wallet. So
Yeah, I remember when
I
you
like
had that
that.
Nokia phone, you would drop it all like way too big to comfortably
Yeah,
hold
that's
in your
true.
hand.
You had to like half grip it to reach the opposite end of the phone. And to be fair, it's a very sturdy phone nonetheless, and it had an amazing camera, but Windows Phone is just so behind.
hmm
But so yeah, the Apple event, and and I heard they might announce a new
they
iPad,
said
like Air something.
in the current rumor, as far as I know, is instead of releasing an iPad Air 3 to replace the iPad Air 2, they're actually going to do
Yeah,
a 10-inch iPad Pro. So it'll have their smart connector or whatever to do the keyboards, and it will have the probably Apple Pencil support because it's an iPad Pro
awesome.
now. Um,
Or you could just get a
you could get a
Surface
Surface, but I will
and
say
Yeah,
I went around after the Apple Pencil was released. I went around and I tried the Surface, the Galaxy Note, and the Apple Pencil, and as unbiased as I could possibly be, I tried really hard to like all of them. I couldn't write quickly and have it be legible on the Note or the Surface Pro. The Apple Pencil, because of what it did with its latency reduction and its pressure sensitivity, they actually used the pressure sensitivity really well. I was actually able to take notes in my normal, horrible, and frantic writing style, and I could read them back at the end like it was with a real pencil, unlike the Note or the Surface, where all of OneNote and the Note app, neither of them did pressure sensitivity for opacity on my pen, which meant that if I didn't pick up my pen, I just had a big black line connecting things that shouldn't be connected. They weren't precise enough to write as small as I like.
Oh,
I will
okay.
say the Apple Pencil's really, really nice if you have an app that actually supports it correctly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's also upwards of like $100.
It's
Isn't it?
$100, but then again, the iPad Pro is $100 cheaper than a Surface Pro, so there's that.
See, I have to disagree with you on the pen part because I have a Surface Pro 3 and there is pressure sensitivity. Like if you press harder, it will do a darker line, and if you lift it up and still keep it on, it'll be a lighter line.
Oh,
So
cool. So it wasn't just changing the size of the size of the circle.
no,
you're
no,
doing?
it's based on a pressure.
Okay.
So
Out of curiosity, what app are you using? Because I want to try it.
it was on OneNote.
Oh, that's what
So
I tried.
just
Okay.
like I've taken tons of notes on it before I broke my touchscreen.
Uh,
RIP.
Yeah. But I mean, and it's kind of costly to fix, which is one problem I don't like because my warranty's up. But yeah,
Okay.
like I've had it work perfectly because I have horrible handwriting as well,
Okay.
and so like I can read my own notes when I would take it on them.
Okay. Well, that's
So-
really
Have
good.
you guys tried?
But I haven't tried the Apple Pen, so I can't
I have.
really
I
judge.
can barely read my notes when I do them in pencil. So, and I might have been using.
Same.
I thought I used OneNote, but I might have been using something else.
I really like my Surface Pro
Jesus.
2 pen. I just want to quickly add this. The one problem I have with it though is that it's Wacom, I believe is what it's called, the company that made it. Microsoft, the Surface Pro 3 has a different pen than that.
Yeah.
Has a different pen manufacturer. So now in Windows 10 they don't support my pen anymore,
Oh,
which
Oh,
is
whoa.
interesting.
what?
Yeah, so like it doesn't write or anything on OneNote. So I had to downgrade on my Surface Pro to Windows 8 because I use it for school. So I just wanted to add that interesting tidbit there. So
That's kind of lame.
it is really lame. So I can't use Windows 10 on my computer, and it's Windows 10's better than Windows 8 for
Tons
sure.
better.
So it's kind of a bummer.
I really prefer a notepad, and
That's also true.
yeah, it's also hundreds.
Although
of dollars cheaper.
being able to share your notes between like all your electronic devices, from my Surface to my computer to my phone, it's all in one. It can all be shared in one spot. It's actually
The
awesome.
other thing I've really
I
wanted to
think.
do, if I wanted to get something to take digital notes like that, so I could archive them, so I could say, what did we do on this day? And instead of flip through my whole binder trying to find my notes from that day, I can just Control F for it because I'd be typing that. And copy paste would be really nice when your teacher draws like the same graph 5 times.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. It is just a really nice fluid thing. I really enjoy it. There are some times where it doesn't work the best on mine. Just because like on my pen you could actually flip it around and use the other side as an eraser,
Oh,
but
yeah.
every once in a while that doesn't work. And also if I'm like trying to write on PDFs and things like that, it'll shift my pen, like my writing up to the right a little bit. So like if I try to circle something or underline something, it'll just shoot it up to the top right portion of the page, and I don't know why.
Oh.
But it is still pretty neat.
hmm
Back to the Apple. If you guys are done at the Apple Festival, aren't they coming out with another Apple Watch that they'll probably be announcing there?
Maybe it will have been about a year, I believe, since the first one. So it's about time. I don't think people are still entirely sure yet what release schedule they're going to use for watches, because watches traditionally are very rarely replaced.
True, but it is an Apple first gen product.
Yes,
so
and-
it probably is broken multiple times.
Like physically broken.
Yeah, probably. I mean, or
I will-
software is broken.
I will say it would be nice if it were just a little bit faster. Mine, the animations aren't entirely perfectly fluid all the time.
Oh,
Sometimes
yeah.
they skip a bit, and it would be nice if they were perfectly fluid all the time and never skip.
Yeah, that's what they did with the Moto 360, which is an Android Wear watch,
Mhm.
where the first iteration was slow but relatively cheap, and then the second one's a lot more expensive, but it's faster and has better battery
And-
life, you know.
And that's probably not what
But-
Apple did, because theirs wasn't particularly cheap.
Yeah, well, the new one's more expensive.
Oh no!
But they did update it after a year. So I mean, the smartwatch thing's kind of uncharted territory when it comes to release schedules. You're right though, because watches aren't replaced every year. But I mean, technology. Some people with their phones replace things every year. And if you consider a smartwatch like your phone, then you may want to switch and like upgrade every year.
hmm
But that's just an opinion. I don't know if I'd want to. I honestly though, like my favorite smartwatch is the Moto 360. I think it's a really neat watch because it has a rounded watch face and everything, and it looks really neat, and the interface looks really cool. But it's just too expensive for me.
Yeah, one thing I really like about my Apple Watch is actually it's a square. It means that I can preview emails and stuff, and I actually get to see all of it. Well, I get to see more of it at a time than it would circular. It doesn't look as watchy, doesn't look a whole lot like a watch, But I really am enjoying the square screen rather than the circle.
Cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we'll talk about all the Apple's announcements when they announce them.
Yeah.
But I mean, the last thing on our news list is that there was a Captain America Civil War trailer that came out 2 days
Spoderman.
ago. Yeah.
Well,
Spider-Man.
spoiler alert.
Yeah, no kidding.
Spoderman is part of the Iron Man crew,
I was
which I'm
not
happy
watching
for.
it, so I didn't know
I
stuff.
was not happy.
Yeah, I mean, so yep, Spider-Man was announced at the end of this because I mean, we knew Spider-Man was gonna be a thing, but we didn't know when he was actually gonna appear in this portion of the Marvel universe. So he's showing up in Civil War.
That's cool.
Yeah, what were you guys' thoughts on the trailer itself?
It gave me more hype. I mean, before I was excited, now I'm more excited.
Yes, Kiral, how'd you feel?
Definitely. I'm definitely riding the hype train. It looks to be intense,
True.
and I don't know. Looks pretty good.
I mean, we could just call this Avengers 3, right? Because that's pretty much what it is.
Pretty much.
Minus Hulk and Thor. I think I'm gonna like this movie more than I liked Age of Ultron. As much as this one just looks like there's a lot more at stake. Don't you guys think, or is that just me?
Like it's a heavier to the universe type thing.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think it's just because you only knew Ultron for one movie. And then most of these other characters, well, the main two, Iron Man and Captain America, you've seen them be friends, and you've seen a lot more character development for them. So it feels like this situation where they have to fight against each other is a much more urgent one than some robot created by Tony Stark just shows up and says, I'm gonna, throw up, that's not the right word. I'm just gonna destroy a city in Russia and destroy the Earth or whatever with it, I don't know. I just feel like this feels more emotionally urgent.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't care about the city in Russia?
Not entirely.
You weren't emotionally attached to it?
I didn't know the city in Russia for extended periods of time.
You're right.
What was the city in Russia? Does everyone?
Sokovia, or something like that.
Or was it in Russia? It was somewhere.
No, it was a
Slavic.
fictional Eastern European country.
Okay. Well, I knew it wasn't a real city.
Yeah,
but...
they couldn't lift a real city like that.
Oh my gosh. But I'm really excited about it. We got to see a little bit more of Black Panther, and he looks insanely awesome. Even
catching up to that motorcycle.
Yeah, that was so cool.
Getting shot.
My goodness. They're just trying to really drive home the point that Don Cheadle is dead in this movie, who plays Rhodes / War Machine. Dead or seriously injured to the point where it makes Iron Man even matter. More angry is the better term. But does anyone else feel that way?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, this is the second time we've seen Iron Man holding him in his arms. It's just gonna be a really crazy movie. Oh, but the coolest part had to be Ant-Man on Hawkeye's arrow. That was so cool.
That's pretty gosh dang cool.
Yeah, I'm just excited about this movie. It's gonna be pretty great. So yeah, that about does it for news. I think that's it. Are you guys good? Do you have anything else you want to talk about, or should we wrap up this episode?
Is there time to talk about NVIDIA Light Boost?
What's the NVIDIA Light Boost, Kenny?
NVIDIA Light Boost is a solution for reducing ghosting on LCD monitors. I'm glad you asked. So, ghosting on monitors, one of the reasons they occur is because pixels on an LCD display don't transition immediately from color to color. There's a state, say a pixel goes from white to black, there's a state where it is neither white nor black, where it's actually somewhere in between, because it's not...
It's in limbo.
Yeah, because it's not immediate. And what this means is, as you move your mouse around on the screen, as things move around in games, the colors blur. The previous frame is actually held a little longer than just the duration of a frame as the pixels transition, and it creates a blurry effect on your entire screen. If you move a window around with text, you can see it's very hard to read the text because it leaves a bit of a black trail on the white background. So that's due to response time on the pixels. A lot of monitors, just general monitors, have 5 to 7 millisecond response time. Gaming monitors usually advertise 1 millisecond gray-to-gray response time, which should be a very small fraction of a frame. Frames, I believe, at 60 hertz are like 16 and a bit milliseconds, so it shouldn't be a lot. But NVIDIA had a solution for nearly completely removing ghosting, and they call theirs Light Boost. Other companies have other ones. They use it for 3D vision, where it's imperative that each eye doesn't see what the other eye was supposed
Have
to see.
latency.
Well, it needs, they alternate displaying frames. You get your right eye's frame, then it does your left eye's frame, then it does the right eye's frame. And so it's really important that your right eye doesn't see what your left eye was supposed to see. So they developed Light Boost. What Light Boost does is it turns the backlight on your monitor off during the pixel transitions.
That's
so
crazy.
My backlight right now, I have my monitor to go. It's running at 120 hertz because that's the maximum for Light Boost. It actually is flashing its backlight 120 times per second in sync with the pixels. So while the pixels are changing color, I don't see them, which means as I move the text around the screen, I can actually read it the entire time. There's like no blur behind it. There's actually a very tiny bit, but there's very little
That's
blur.
insane.
And yeah, and it's really cool. I haven't improved at anything. I tried playing Osu. I got exactly the same scores I always get. I tried playing all kinds of games. There's like no real difference, except it's a lot more comfortable at night because the backlight isn't as bright because it's off half the time.
Oh, that is cool.
But
yeah.
It was a bit of a chore to get, a bit of an ordeal to get it running on my monitor because my monitor is only supposed to have Light Boost enabled when it's in 3D mode. And I don't have 3D glasses. I don't do anything in 3D on my PC, so I don't have a legitimate 3D mode. There was I followed a tutorial at blurbusters.com, and they linked me to an application that will run at startup, and it has my computer fake 3D mode, and that enables Light Boost on my monitor even on the desktop. And so far, I'm having a really good time. Everything looks just a little bit less blurry as they move. Thought it was a pretty interesting thing.
Hey, isn't the future now, man?
It was actually, this wasn't a problem on CRTs, where when they weren't, when CRTs draw, they're not, you don't get pixel transitions on CRTs. There was a place.
So the future was actually.
The future was a long
15
time
years
ago. I would pay a lot of money for a high definition widescreen CRT.
We had one of those.
That would be
Richie.
interesting. What?
We had one of those.
Was it widescreen?
We have a high definition CRT.
Yeah.
Which one was that?
In the Wildemar house.
Oh yeah, the Panasonic one. Yeah. No, we had one for a while. You're right.
So beautiful to play games on.
Yeah, it was so fun to play Smash on that. It was so good. None input lag.
Yeah, amazing.
That's the best thing, and
it was awesome.
You can overclock some of them to. Some of them go at least over 200 hertz, which is pretty nice.
That's crazy. Oh man,
the one I have at home, it has to run in 640 by 480, but I overclocked it to 180 hertz, and I improved absolutely zero in games, but it was really fun.
But to say that, 200 hertz, look at that. Like that's something.
That's like more than that's over triple what people ordinarily get. That's a lot.
That's true.
It was also really hard to read anything. Windows doesn't even like running in 640 by 480. I think 800 by 600 is the lowest it lets you pick from the menu. It's interesting. Yeah, but there you go. There's ghosting, there's Light Boost, pixel transitions. Also, apparently, no, that's really it. So there you go.
All right, well, there you go. And I think that about wraps it up on the podcast this week. Thank you guys for listening. You can, if you want to see more of GameBloc and all of its game blockiness, then check us out on Facebook and Twitter. Go like us or subscribe, follow, whatever that means. We're also on YouTube. We're a little behind, but I'll fix that this week. We're on YouTube at also GameBloc, so you guys can check that out. We also have the GameBloc blog, which you can go check out. We have some interesting articles. I think I'll write a review for Stardew Valley on it soon. And you could also check out an article about why I game. It's pretty interesting. If you guys have a little bit of extra time, check that out. Always do those reviews on iTunes too. Those always help. And tell a friend. If you could tell a friend, that would be great. And with that, I think we're done. So thank you guys for listening. I'm Richie.
I'm Jonathan.
And I'm
Kiral.
Kenny.
And we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
All right, Kiral, what have you been playing?
Nothing.
All right. Well,
Okay, cool.
There we go. Okay. Outtake. All right. So I guess
Wow.
okay. Hold on a second. I have to respond to a text.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Shame on you.
Do you think you'll be gone for 15 more seconds? But light boost gets it down to, I don't know. It's hard to measure.
Below
Can I
that,
start over?
if you
Okay,
want.
Sure.
So I'm gonna start over.